Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome to another high voltage episode. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, coming to you live from the Maha City, representing Nat King Code, and I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stallcup, over there at Longhorn Country, giving old hook'em horns, and he is representing the Stallcup Electrical Education Channel, and he is representing the Stallcups very well, I might add. Like I say, we got a code change book coming out, and that you have, and that is gonna be awesome. And thanks to me,
boy.
if you purchase the state exam, if you purchase the states, you get the free code change PDF. And we already have David Englehart, Mr.
Hey,
E,
David.
Electrical Wizardry in the house. Welcome in, David. David said something about the website. Oh, he's liking the changes.
Establish, except one thing, the GUI questions. They're about to go on. We have done so much. I've been so freaking busy because it's code change year. And we just finished. I've got 4 more to do illustrations, and chapter 6 is knocked out. And I've already gone in. I've really been working extremely hard the last 3 months. But we have, as soon as I get those done, I'll pre-flight it. I've already pre-flighted the first 5 chapters. Yeah, it's about to be on. We are so close. I'm so excited. Everything that's about to come. As David was saying, tons of changes are being done to the learning management system. It's really clean, easy. I mean, we've done a lot of work. And
looks like somebody's jumping in trying to get some. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. But one of the things that we're getting ready is I'm thinking by the August 1st, we will pretty much be done with the brand new 2026 code change publication. Then we're just waiting to see what happens with the Standards Council. And once we get that, we'll go in if there's any changes we need to make. We're going back right now. We're reviewing what was voted on the floor at the NFPA annual meeting. So we're about to go through that and make sure we have everything. But we've been double checking, triple checking everything to make sure it's done properly.
Welcome in, Moss. What's up?
Longhorn's going to be tough this year. Going to be tough.
Up in the house. Up in the house.
If I can take a minute, I'm going to share a screen and show everybody what we have coming up, what we've done at this point. And this will give everybody a really, really good example of what we've done up to this point with the code change book. Let me put it in where I can do it in bigger.
Oh yeah, that's true, Moss. Man, the Blue Jays have just been on fire. I think they're like the best team in that Major League Baseball right now. I think.
They may be. I hadn't been keeping up.
Yeah, but I think I heard that.
As you can see, we've done quite a bit of work here to the publication. And one of the things, let me get this a little bit bigger. There we go. So what we've done up to this point, we've done a few little changes. I'm already setting the table of contents. I'm hoping by right at the 1st of September, I'll have all the table of contents done. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do also here is we're going to have a write-up at the first of this that is going to go through and talk about some of the global changes that took place. And then we're also going to mention what y'all are going to find out, especially when you get to chapter 5. They have taken some of the language that was in the text and they've created tables now. There wasn't nothing that necessarily changed, but we're going to make reference to it so you're aware of exactly a few of those things that have taken place. And the other thing I'm going to do with each one of these chapters, when you go to each individual chapter, once I get to the chapter, I'm going to take and I'm going to set it up to where I'll have it by each article. And then under each article, I will have the topic so you can get to it quickly. Okay.
Nice.
So that's going to make it a little bit easier for people to follow.
Right.
You'll see we've made some very light changes, I guess you say, but we've gotten to where we're not coloring in the notes and stuff because it's much after we started printing, we actually did the first 2 chapters, printed them out at the printer to see how they looked and everything, and shading the boxes, everything, it didn't show up as good. So what we decided is to go with a bigger outline, doing a 2-point and then putting the text in. And one of the things that you'll see as you go through this, how much clearer and cleaner the publication looks. And you can see we've done a lot of work on drawing all the new devices and everything. I mean, when you actually go in and look at this, you can tell there's a lot of work done.
Right.
We even go, I'll show you one here that y'all will find very interesting. Right here.
No,
like
I appreciate you putting in an illustration for the myth because I couldn't find anything that was like showed it. It was just, was really, there wasn't nothing out there. I think they're kind of scared to say anything about it.
It could be, but what we did, that particular one was a brand new illustration that we'll be showing everybody, and that is out of the grounding book.
Oh, cool.
I had just finished that. But to give you an idea here, when this, especially for instructors, when all this flows up, but like here, we have.
You need to start giving you like the drum roll.
Yeah,
like
sounds good. But this is an isolation bypass switch here on the left-hand side of the page. When y'all look at this, this shows all the readings and everything on it, and shows you. I actually took the time. I drew every bit of this. And it comes in and shows when you're switching and what it says over here on the switching mechanisms and all of that.
Nice.
That's how detailed we have gone in and we've redone all these illustrations. Like this.
Yeah, I kind of like how you kind of shifted a grayscale and just like the only color really is green. That makes it kind of stand out.
Well, the reason we did the boxes in green up here, because we wanted it to reflect from the green text that we did for the change. So anything that took place here, we wanted you to know green is go. This is what they've done. So we've changed a lot of the way we look at it. We even show you here, like here's a transformer, high voltage setup transformer, and showing you the different types. I actually drew all these different type of electrical connections that they use inside these transformers when they're making the connection. Then I show the pods and everything. So all of that is, and I'm telling you, and all the readings and everything that you would see inside here, we put all that in there. I'm telling everybody, go compare. You want to see how much has actually been done to each one of these and the amount of effort and time that went into these illustrations.
And I don't know. I hear there's some people that are close though, so I just don't want you to be shocked. Like when, after what was it, 5 years, 4 years?
I'm waiting.
They might have something better.
I'm waiting to see it and see this, and we just hadn't put in. See how those are dark, the notes there that we have in there. Those are about to come out. Matter of fact, I've already finished chapter 2, and I'm about to relay these in and update them and everything. But this gives everybody a pretty good idea of what we've done up to this point on the new changes and everything that have taken place.
It looks like Moss is streaming the Alouettes and Stampeders game, so you guys want to check out a really cool sports channel, go over there, check out Moss Sports World channel, and go hang out with Moss.
I've got one question. David, what do you think of the upgrades on the learning management system? So you can just send us a message what you think.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of comments from a lot of different people that have messaged me and said, dude, you are doing freaking awesome. Now, one of the things I want to point out that we're also going to do is I'm going to use sort of that same type of setup when I do the online education. Now, soon as I finish this 2026, which is, we've been working on this for about 6 months, trying to get everything ready. And there's approximately going to be about 250 changes in there, it looks like. So we've done 250 changes. I'll guarantee you nobody else.
And no person in Colorado will be getting gypped this cycle. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So. Well, as soon as I finish that, we're going back because we had already finished articles 110, 120, 130 of the 70E book, which is the biggest portion of it. And I was about a quarter way into chapter 2. So I got chapter 2 and 3 I'm going to finish, and we're going to try to get out by the end of September 70E with all the brand new illustrations, updates, and everything. And then right after that, I start specifically getting everything ready on the 2026 for an online course that you can take if you want. But that's mainly to be used where I'm going to start submitting to the states. And the first states that will get it are the ones that are coming up this next year for update their license. Like Colorado will be one of the first. For being listed, Archer. I don't know yet. We're going to wait and see. The things that he's asking like that, I'm having to wait to check everything. But as soon as we get that information, I'll know exactly. And you can ask me here about the 1st September. I should have an answer for you. And anyway, so I haven't got to viewing what you asked for. Okay, no worries. One of the things that David was talking about earlier is a lot of things you're going to notice. There's a new look to the learning management system. We got hundreds and hundreds of hours into it, and we're getting down to the final of getting it finished. And I want all that done here as soon as possible because that's going to translate to the new 2026 and all the new 2026 publications that will be coming out. The one other thing I'll point out is the design book, which is our best-selling book ever. We're going to take that book. It's 2 volumes. It's big.
Yeah, I do agree with you, David. That's going to be interesting because I just don't see, I don't get it when they sit there and say that some of these devices aren't capable of handling continuous duty. That's ridiculous. I don't get that. I mean, I install commercial devices daily, and they're all rated for continuous duty.
Well, all you got to do is listen to Jeremy and Ted Fritz and all them guys. They tell you the code overrides it anyway. They don't care what the UL standard says.
That's ridiculous.
It's listing and labeling doesn't matter. That's the stupidest comment I've ever. But anyway, what I was saying is we're going to take that design book. It'll still be 2 volumes, but especially for the instructors out there, y'all need to be aware of this more than any. Is we will have that still the same, but the only thing that's going to change is all the high voltage stuff is coming out. And then we're going to have another designing electrical systems that is going to cover just high voltage. So all these new articles and everything that they've added on high voltage that we've covered on this podcast, which nobody else has done, that covers all the new articles and what they have done, then we're going to translate that over into a new publication. So you got the designing electrical systems will cover under 1,000 volts, and then we'll have one that's over 1,000 volts. So that's where we're going with all of it.
All right. So somebody reached out to me. They didn't really understand the little feud between Paul Abernathy and me and you and everything. And so I just wanted to share a couple little quick little clips. I do have the part 2 that you couldn't stop laughing. And I think the thing that's so funny is that these guys just think that they are just gonna like make everyone interpret everything the way they want you to, and it's just to me that's why I submitted the public input. But this was the initial comment that came from King James.
Or it might be that they're riding the coattails of their daddy or something. I don't know.
So that was the initial comment. Then he came on like this.
This caused quite a few arguments over this. I might have said some nasty things about somebody following the coat steps of their father, and I apologize for that comment. That was just me being mad at somebody else who that person was associating with, and I believe they could pick better people to associate with. So again, I apologize to the gentleman that I made that comment about. You did your own thing. You did not follow the coat steps of your father. It's just me being nasty, and I apologize. I did not mean anything by it. You're an educator that brings a lot to the industry. So I apologize for that. But I don't apologize to your little nitwit friend who doesn't have a clue, okay? Who copies everybody else's when they try to do a podcast instead of doing anything original on their own. They want to ride the coattails of everybody else, and then they call up everybody else trying to befriend them so they can gang up on people. That is a weasel. So again.
So that was pretty funny.
Let me go. He just said ganging up on everybody else. First of all, the only person that first got ganged up on was me because I said there was no outlet. That actually happened. And anybody that followed along and that was on ECD at the time and saw the names and the nastiness that they wasn't interested in code discussion at all. They didn't want to hear, anything. And anybody that followed that knows I was as nice as I could be, and I just said it. And and this is what happened. They said, you don't know what you're doing, and blah, 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 blah. It's at the roadside of the Disney. And Bill will remember this. And I said, okay.
Oh, dude, I got the audio. Paul, it went back to the disconnect tonight.
So
it goes back there.
I explained why it wasn't at the disconnect. And then all of a sudden, didn't hear nothing for about 3 hours. And then here come the barrage of attack. And the things that I was called at that point was unbelievable. And and then, let's see, I just tuned you on 400 a week, go to read. Awesome. And, one of the things that we also do when we're talking about the receptacles and stuff, and a lot of people, I tell y'all that we do these little extra things, but when I was showing there earlier, some of the 2026 NEC changes, there's a table at the top, and we put things that you need that also you could review that are part of that just hadn't happened yet. One of the things we put is UL, and when we're talking about the receptacles and everything, we refer to UL 498. So people, and there's a reason we do that is to get people familiar, especially anyone who really uses the NEC. You need to be familiar with other standards and stuff that could apply. So we're the only code change publication that goes in and puts all those additional standards for review. And then we also put loops in there where necessary. It's like the last cycle when we were talking about the arc flash protection and stuff and the labeling and everything. And we were referencing with a code loop, we'd say 110.16, 110.24. Then we refer you to all the 70E that you needed to look at also. And then, especially when you're doing maintenance on equipment, there's stuff in 70B you need to look at. So we would always take and put those loops in there for you to follow. Nobody else does that. And the reason we've always done that, because Dad and I, we're not on there anymore, but we used to be on the 70B. We let it go because there's only so much time you have. You can work on all these different standards. But we were on 70B when they started making all them changes and everything at the first. And so we're very aware of how 70B was established and the design of the 70B as well as the 70E, because we've been on that pretty much since it started. So you look at 70B, 70E, we've been on two of the most important committee members for, golly, especially 70E, 30 years, and we were 20 years, something like that on 70E. And then all the stuff we do with NEC. And my dad used to be on the UL Electrical Council. And at one time, I think he was president of it, if I'm not mistaken. But we've done all them things all them years. That's why we're aware of the direct relationship between the NEC and all these other electrical standards. So when we're putting them tables up there, there's, sometimes it's good to go and look at that stuff.
Okay. All right, so we have part 2. You're gonna have to try not to laugh. It's not real long. I think it's like 8 minutes, but
okay.
It's the continuation from last week. Let's see.
The reason for this, and a lot of the manufacturers, Tesla, different ones came up to the mic and said, look, we know there's issues. And the GFCI standards, which is UL 943, is working on a high frequency, a bunch of other things. Now, the manufacturers of the GFCI says we already have the special purpose. Basically, that's just a higher milliamp threshold, by the way. They're just calling it special purpose, but it's really kind of like a limited threshold class B GFCI, if you will. So anyway, they already have that. So they were passionate about, look, we already have this. This is fine. The problem with it was that the manufacturers of the EVSEs came to the mic and said, look, we are going to tell you that our units, if you hardwire them, which is now a way you can do it without GFCI protection currently in the 2023, if you hardwire, you're going to have problems. And our literature states not to put it on GFCI if you hardwire it. So it's one of those situations where we're going to create possible issues here because the manufacturers and major manufacturers say they're not ready yet. I mean, they won't work because of some different. It's not so much of an incompatibility thing. It is how the EVSEs function and how they work and how they work in the system that's causing the problem. They're saying it's not so much. Stop calling it an incompatibility thing or something like it. It's part of the way that these EVSEs work. Well, the code panel sent the message to them and said, well, no, you're going to fix it. And any permanently wired EVSE in the future is going to have GFCI protection or SP GFCI protection, depending on the volts, 150 volts or less to ground, or where you exceed 150 volts or less to ground, whether it's, permanently wired, you're going to have GFCI or SP GFCI. And for the receptacles, you're going to have GFCI or SP GFCI. That's it.
So what I love so much about this is that I don't know where this SP GFCI came in for the receptacle, but it's so funny because they act like they're talking on both sides of it, but it cracks me up because they're like, oh, guess what? If it doesn't work on a Class A device, we give you permission to go buy an even more expensive device. We'll give you that permission to go get something that costs even more, that's even harder to find. We're going to up the job cost by $100,000. How do you like that? For what? I don't get it.
Well, let me comment on that. He just made the statement that they said, no, you're going to put GFCI or SPF GFCI on it. He just stated that. And yeah. I'm sitting there listening to that, and this is my first thought when I hear something like that is, okay, so basically you have no technical merit in anything of any desk or anything, but you're going to tell the manufacturer, just like David was talking about, he's on UL and dealing with the receptacles and everything, and they set those standards and stuff up in order to make sure that that equipment is compatible with the electrical installation requirements that are there. And then you got Co-Making Panel 2 and some of these others that sell their devices saying, no, you're going to put this on there when they have no technical merit of desk or anything. And Paul just said that. And that is what is upsetting. And that's why a lot of people are getting the feeling now that they feel the National Electrical Code is starting to become a manufacturer's code. And I've heard a lot of people say that. And that's not good. And NFPA, I'm telling you, they're going to keep up, and it's going to get to a point where you're going to see some of these states not going to be accepting these new codes. They're getting tired of this. And I've heard it from many different chiefs from around the country and other inspectors. So, I mean,
I don't know. I don't see 625-54B being an impact on anything. I don't see the manufacturers having to do anything. They already have it in their manufacturer instructions to not use GFCI when hardwired. Why are you going to come in and say that's an outlet now, and you got to put the second GFCI? You got to put a GFCI on a GFCI basically, because the EBSE is a very smart GFCI. I mean, they have so much stuff involved.
Let me make another comment on it, because what was this like 2-3 weeks ago? You had audio with Thomas Dmitrovich.
Yeah, where you didn't need data.
Yeah, he literally made the statement. Now, who does he work for?
Eaton.
Somebody that makes those devices. And he said, he goes, yeah, we can put them out there and have them there for them to put on the equipment, but if we don't put it in the code, they're not going to use it. Well, why are they not going to use it? Well, the reason is because you're going to charge more for those devices. And your company makes more if they use those devices. So when they get up here and you got Dimitrovich and Nehal and all of them saying 100%. Everything outside GFCI, well, why would they state that? Look who they work for. That's what I'm saying. And I've always, ever since I got in and started dealing with the code making panels and all this, going to meetings, everything, I was always told when something new went in, there was always technical merit behind it and why you needed it. And then they put 210.8F in, and then right after they get it in, then they put an exception in there about the AC unit, trying to call it an outlet, which it still is, and I don't care what Jeremy any of them say. But they're trying to put it in there saying you need GFCI protection. And they do it after the fact that they put that section in with a TIA. That happened. That's not hearsay. That's not Bill and I just giving our opinions, what we think and all that. We're telling you exactly what has happened in the process in which they did it. And that's why all electricians should be upset, and inspectors, engineers, whoever, that they're going to require GFCI protection and then turn around and try to tell you that the NEC overrides the manufacturer's instructions when the manufacturer's instructions specifically follow trade industry codes and standards. And that's why I have a problem with this. And inspectors around the world should unite and say, if the manufacturer's instructions come back and say no GFCI protection, you don't put it on there. That's what should happen. I think that's what's going to end up happening. I think there's going to be a rebellion against this.
Well, and I agree. That's the whole reason I submitted it, because I knew that people would fight back, because they've already fought back on 210.8F. And wait till you hear Paul moves the outlet a few times in here. It's coming up here.
Okay.
It's not too long.
And so that was what was accepted. So that's what they got. So it means that the manufacturers of these EVSEs are going to have to scramble, because once this 2026, they didn't put a sunset date. They didn't say as of September 1st, 2029. They didn't do any of that. So that means that in the future, it resolves that question of whether or not you have to have GFCI on the EVSEs. The answer is yes and yes. You're going to have it, whether it's a normal Class A or an SP GFCI, depending. Okay, you're going to have it, whether it's receptacles or hardwired. That's where you're going. Okay, so those that want to look that up, that is CAM 70-178 when it comes up, but that does encompass quite a few other ones as well. So keep you in mind. Okay, so the next one that was important, I guess, for everybody out there is the ever controversial, the GFCI requirement on outdoor outlets. And remember, for those out there that don't know what an outlet is, it's a point in the system where you take power from the building. It is not a receptacle. That is a device that mounts in an outlet box. But that does not mean that a piece of equipment, an appliance mounted on like an EVSE, or even a disconnect, which people can argue that's different, It's still a point where you're taking it from the building system and you're supplying some piece of appliance or utilization equipment. That is considered an outlet by definition.
Stop.
Okay, so
all right. I want this. I want this so bad. Well, there's a reason I want this, and when you get in, and this is where I get into all my arguments and everything with them, and it reminds me exactly when my coach was on NEC Live, and he's covering the first draft of some of the changes and everything, and he asked Corey, hey Corey, I got one for you, and he says, where do you think the outlet is where I have an AC unit, blah blah blah, and
Corey wouldn't answer.
Corey goes, I'm not getting in that, Mike, and Mike's, oh yeah, well that's the thing here, and he's going over. Some believe it's a disconnecting means, some believe it's equipment. And he goes.
Well, you know why he moved that. You know why his illustration was hovering? Because I said that it can't be a disconnect outlet. He's just saying, Paul's just saying that it's defined as that. Okay, Paul, so you're telling me it's a switch outlet? No, it's not defined as that.
I just pulled this up. And I'm going to share the screen here because I want everybody to see this, and I'm going to go to NFPA link, so there won't be any body looking at this and saying it's just my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to pull up here disconnecting means. Now, the reason I want to pull this up is I want everybody to see exactly what it says. It says a device or a group of devices. Okay? That right there is all I want to see. And so then, if that's the case, then I need to go look at what is a device. And it says a unit of an electrical system other than a conductor. So it's other than a conductor. Now, that's interesting because whenever they're trying to place the outlet at an AC unit, they say it's at the end of the conductor.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, just to give everybody clarity, and this is why I like to go through this so everybody can understand exactly what they're trying to say and why Bill and I are saying they're full of crap. Okay. Yeah. So they say other than a conductor. Now they say if I go over to a receptacle outlet, it's at the end of that conductors there, not the device it connects to, is where the outlet is. That's what Paul just told you. But yet, when I go over there and I'm going to the AC unit, and some say it's on the load side of the disconnecting means, others say it's at the end of the conductor where it connects to the equipment's outlet. So basically what they're trying to tell you there is that this outlet just floats in an infinite space. It's not something that is pliable. It's not something that's there. It just floats there. Okay?
Dude, I wish that I could honestly say that when we started doing this argument, they were showing us the end of a seal tight with wires in it saying that's an AC outlet.
They sure the hell did.
I'm like, what? No, it ain't.
Now watch this. And you look at the enhanced content from NFPA. They tell you these devices can be switches, circuit breakers, fuse holders, receptacles, attachment plugs, lamp holders, and so that distribute energy, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, when I look at that, they're basically trying to say, now, words have meaning, as they like to tell us. So if words have meaning, basically what you're telling me is I can have a circuit breaker up there, and that circuit breaker can be the outlet.
Yeah, you can put it wherever you want.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But I'm going to go a little bit further here. We're going to come over here, and we're going to look at a receptacle outlet, and let's see if what they're saying holds true.
And a receptacle outlet is a location. They haven't given us a location yet.
Well, they say the location is wherever they pick it to be. Yeah, and exactly. That's why I'm saying they basically say it floats in an infinite space. And and they've also told us a receptacle and a receptacle outlet are the exact same thing. And I said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I think they're starting to realize that a receptacle outlet doesn't have a rating.
Mm-hmm. Now, here we go again. Receptacle. A contact device installed at where? The outlet.
An outlet. Yeah.
Now, words have meaning, but they're telling us, we're saying that the receptacle, once again, is what? A device. Okay? Installed at the outlet. Okay? So let's
and the outlet is installed for the device to be installed in.
Yeah, well, let's just see if that's true. A receptacle outlet, an outlet where one or more receptacles are installed.
Yeah.
Okay, now everybody agrees with that. Now, let's say we hold true to that and we say the outlet is where it's installed. Now, they're trying to tell you at the end of where those conductors are is where the outlet is, no matter where, because that's the end of your premise wiring and all this, which is that they're twisting the definition to meet. They don't use the code as a whole. But I'm going to show one thing here, okay? And I want everybody just to watch real quick, and you tell me if I'm not right and Bill's not right on what we're saying here. Okay, now watch this. Article 314. What is the very first word to Article 314? Outlet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it encompasses the device.
And Jeremy has come in and said, because I said, in order for there an outlet to be there, Jeremy, you have to have a box. So Jeremy took that as, trying to twist things around. Oh, Stalkup says, anytime you put a box in, it's an outlet. I never said that.
Yeah.
And so
it has to meet all their criteria too, like end of the wiring method, all this other bullshit. Like the thing that's funny is we ran into this weekend where I was installing some chopper luminaires and they come with factory whips. Well, these guys want to put the outlet inside that luminaire, but that factory whip is not covered by the National Electric Code, so the lighting outlet would be at the box that you terminate that to.
Right. Now, watch this. Now, one of the things I've always said, this is where I get in and I really have a problem with them, is they go in and they pick and choose where they want to decide this outlet is. And this is where I have problems, because they have told us that when I go to that AC unit and I go over to this EVSE, they're telling us that the utilization equipment is the outlet. Okay?
Yep, that's exactly it.
So let's just use another part, and this goes back, and if anybody disagrees with us, tell us. That's why we're here, and we're showing you what the code says and taking you through a loop here so you can see that we actually take and we're using the code as a whole to explain what we're doing here. Now,
and so that's the other thing that's weird is now here this utilization equipment is somehow connected directly to the branch circuit, and then somehow it becomes the outlet that feeds itself. That's weird too.
Yeah, I remember the first time I told them that they like to lost their freaking mind when I told them that.
It supplies itself with power somehow.
Yeah, but watch this. Now, I will ask this question. Anybody watching this podcast? Okay. Matter of fact, I highly recommend everybody that's watching this podcast share it out and send it to people that are in the electrical field. They need to be aware of what we're discussing, even inspectors that you deal with on a daily basis. Send them to this exact podcast right here so they can see what we're talking about. And some people get upset with some of the things they're doing. The only way you combat that is you got to get this out there for people to see what we're saying and then let them make their decisions from there. Now,
there's still some more you're going to disagree with. We should keep going.
No, hold on. I want to finish this part up.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I come in and I don't care if I'm in residential, commercial, industrial, and I've got a light fixture up there. Now, is that light fixture considered utilization equipment?
Yes, sir.
Sure it is. Now, let's see what it says here when I deal with outlet. Now, I want to point this out. They tried to tell you the utilization equipment is where the outlet is. And I said, no, it isn't. And usually it's where you have a box or something that's feeding it. Well, here's a good example. Because if you look at article or section 314.27, right there on that heading there, it says outlet boxes. Okay? And it says, outlet boxes are fittings designed for the support of luminaires and lamp holders installed 314.23. Okay. So then I go down and I look at A2 and I pick up ceiling outlets. Let's see what it says. At every outlet used exclusively for lighting, the box shall be designed or installed so that a luminaire or lamp holder can be attached. Boxes shall be required to support a luminaire, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then it gets down here and it says that unless the box is listed for not less than the weight to be supported. So when you look at this right here, they're telling you that you're using the box as the outlet for your lighting fixture. Period. Sure. There's no disagreement or anything for this. And then after you finish reading all these different things, it's going to refer you after you go down here, and I'll go down a little bit further where everybody can see this. But when you're looking at this and you get into these boxes where you're looking at your ceiling suspended paddle fan, what does it say there? Ceiling boxes. Now listen to what this says. And I'm looking at C. It says outlet boxes, or listen to this, or outlet box systems. So they're telling you when you buy one of those at the store where you can go up in there and twist it and it goes across those studs going across and anchors it in, that is an outlet box system. They're telling you the box itself is the outlet for that luminaire or for that paddle fan. Right. Now, if I'm reading this and I'm following along, it's telling me to do exactly this. Now watch this. If I look at D, it says boxes used for the support of utilization equipment other than ceiling suspended paddle fans. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Shall meet the requirements of 314.27A for the support of a luminaire that's the same size and weight. So it takes me right back up to where I started from, and it tells you that in A2, the ceiling outlets, that it's a box that's used for that lighting or utilization equipment.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, the reason that I have such a problem with them, the way they're trying to interpret this, is it's like they passed it and then told us like what it means, how to enforce it, how to do all this stuff, and it's like it never should have even passed in the first place. But we'll keep going, dude. You'll love this. It gets
bring it on. I'm enjoying it.
So a good example of this was in 210.8F, outdoor outlets. Again, don't confuse that with receptacles alone. There's already requirements for receptacles in 210.8A outdoors, as well as in B for other than dwellings outdoors for receptacles. I already have that requirement. This was where the people were, the one that's the biggest about this is the HVAC equipment. So you come out of the building and you hit a disconnect and then it whips down to your HVAC equipment. We had a relaxation and exception to 210.8F that came about in order to say that, look, GFCI protection shall not be required for listed HVAC equipment.
A lot of personal injury.
So the thing that's funny about this is that they actually, I think I screwed up maybe the audio, but the thing that's funny about this is that they were like, okay, so what the inspectors are gonna do is they're gonna look at the UL listing on it, right? It's going to say that it's not compatible with GFCI and that they have an exception. So as long as you show this paperwork and everything that it's not compatible and everything, then you don't have to put it on GFCI. Dude, nobody's doing that, dude. Like, that is like the dumbest thing ever. Like, they're not going to be like, okay, you have UL 527, you get a pass, you know, like that is so dumb. And so what this did was it kind of just blew up in their face because people realized, like, okay, there is like elderly people dying because of this. And it's funny because Paul says, oh, well, I haven't heard any complaints. I haven't heard of anybody complaining about it. Dude, people lost their lives over this, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, more people than what it's supposed to say, you know? And so, you know, and David makes really good points, you know? And, you know, like, you know, yeah, and see, that's a good point too, David. We talked about that. That was in part of the compatibility with Bryce Nesbitt. I appreciate you joining me on that show, David. But Bryce Nesbitt brought that up too. That, you know, that could be covered by 210.8F on residential properties. And like I say, to me, when this came through, when 210.8F came through, what it was an attempt to expand GFCI protection without having to technically change the code. What they changed was how you interpret the code. And it was ridiculous. And that's why me and King James fought back against it so hard, because it's like, no, you're going to expand this over to boatyards, marinas. You're going to expand this over to all this other stuff. You know, now they're expanding it over to, EBSE. And to me, personally, I think it's going to be hilarious. I don't care which way it goes. I know I'm not going to have to put hardwired EBSE on GFCI. I know I'm not going to have to do it. I haven't done it yet. I haven't had to. I show the inspector the manufacturer instructions, done. You know, so, you know, that's a good point, David. I mean, all really the, you know, pool manufacturer heat pump guys have to do, say, don't put this on GFCI, it's not compatible, and put it in this location or whatever that's in a safe location. It doesn't have to be like less than 10 foot from the pool or whatever their stupid other outlets bullshit was that I laughed at, you know, that they said the connections to utilization equipment are considered outlets. Okay, that doesn't give you a measurement. You can put the outlet wherever you want. I could just say the outlets at the circuit breaker, like you said, and then, oh yeah, we're 10 foot away. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, that's just so stupid. I mean, it's so dumb. Like, they did not make anything more enforceable in the 2026. And so I thought it was really interesting, but I guess we should probably go into the myth. Maybe now we're like almost an hour already.
Yeah, it won't be no topic this week after this.
But yeah, I'll stop doing the long-winded comment, but I just wanted everyone to know the feud, how it started, and you know, he said that King James was just riding Daddy's coattails to fame and everything, and then you know, and then I was riding your coattails after that, and then I was riding Paul's coattails to make a podcast that was original. You know, it was just ridiculous, and everyone knows now that he's full of shit. And that was probably 2 years ago, so we already know who the big dogs are now.
You know, he's, you know, he also had made comments, you know, basically, you know, Dad does everything on the books and all that, you know. And I told him, I was like, see, this is where you get in people. They go in and they just start making comments towards somebody, and they ain't got no clue about what that person's done. I've been writing the code change book for the last 4 cycles, or actually 5 now. That'd be 15 years. I've written the code change book. I can bring my dad on. He'll tell her, yeah, he wrote it. And then Dad works with me on it, but I go through and I check everything, get it all set up and all of that. And now I actually draw all the illustrations and everything that go in it. So, you know, when he sits there and he makes these comments just haphazardly about somebody and he doesn't know anything about them, that's somebody that then he comes back and apologizes. Well, and then won't you accept the apology after you've gone out there and caused all this damage? I don't accept somebody doing that.
Yeah.
That's just uncalled for.
And the thing that was funny was I was like communicating with King James back then. Like I didn't really, like we were doing the podcast, whatever. But the whole thing was like you were telling me like different things. Like he went through all the books and checked the math. And what was that back in like the early '90s?
Oh God, yes. It was funny when I first started. My dad, but I had been studying calculations, grounding, and hazardous locations. And my dad told me a long time ago. He said, if you can learn those three, the rest of it's a breeze. He said that's where you really have to work hard and understand what the code is about when it applies to that. And
Right.
so I spent probably 10 years, just that's all I focused on. And when I started working for Dad, he told me we had a publication that was called Electrical Calculations Simplified. It covered it all, just not what was in the code, but just electrical theory and all this other stuff that we did. And we covered that book was probably about 300 pages, almost 400. And it covered every calculation in the code, all this electrical theory and getting into AC/DC, getting into doing KW, KVA, how you convert, do this with horsepower, percentages, all this stuff. I mean, we did so many different things. And
I know that you said this till it was blue in the face, but you came out with one code rule about going up or going down on the 125% or the over 125%.
This is a true story. This actually happened. I never hardly teach Dad anything, but I was doing the calculations and I just happened to realize after I'd got about 80% through it, and I realized if I was calculating anything for size and overcurrent protection device at 125% or less, I went up to the next standard size. If I got over that 125% calculation for size and overcurrent device, I was dropping down to the next standard size. And through that time, the only thing that was in the code at that time that didn't hold true was because I had to protect the conductor too. When I was doing that was for phase conversion. And then later on, they came in and they did some work in table 450.3 A and B, which is now going to be 450.5 A and B. Get ready for that in the 2026. Okay. But they come in and they added a note 1 that gives you the option to go up or down. So, but you apply that principle through the code, doing your calculations, you'll see that's true. And I just happened to I was doing calculations and I saw that and I went in and asked Dad and he started checking. He goes, you know what? He said, that's pretty much 99.9% correct. Other than that one spot, he goes, that's the way we're going to start teaching it. And nice. We had him on a podcast with like 2 years ago. And he was saying, he came up with that.
Yeah, and it was funny because like every time we had Pops on as a guest, I was all texting King James. Like he was texting me first, and then I was like texting him back, like, yeah, dude, that is cool. And the next thing you know, you see all of a sudden the camera just comes over, like, change the name slide. It was funny because I was like getting you in trouble. And, yeah, it was so funny because it was like all of a sudden he just looks over, like, what are you doing? And you're like, nothing. We're texting each other live. But I thought that was pretty funny. But
it was funny because when I was on NEC Live, one of the things that whenever I'm doing any type of instruction work or anything, I always try to make calculations as easy as possible. And I remember Derek, I was going through and somebody asked something on taps, questioning the thing. I said, oh yeah, taps. I said, oh, those are simple as can be. And I said, I'm going to give y'all a rule of thumb. I said, a tap that's 10 foot or less, you'll take the upstream overcurrent device, divide by 10. I said, everything else over that, you take out a third. And if you got a transformer in the tap, you put the ratio of the secondary of the transformer on that calculation, but you still take it at a third. And Derek goes, whoa, what'd you just say? And I said, yeah. I said, we'll go through it and I'll show you. And I show you, and Derek goes, man, he goes, that makes it so easy to do. You think like that? And and that was one of the things through all these years that I've been doing this. I've always tried to make things simpler, make it as easy as I can make it for somebody that's studying, wanting to pass the journeyman or masters. And I'll tell you, I can take a guy and just take him through our journeyman book. And other than the residential, commercial, industrial calculation portion, you're pretty much ready for the masters just going through that portion. And then you just do that last part and you'd be ready for the masters. And I'll guarantee you'll learn step-by-step procedures with all the code sections and everything you need to look at and tables by using our publications, and it'll make your test taking procedure much easier than using some other publication.
Well, and that's a lot of reason why me and King James get along so good, because I'm out there in the field every day just trying to make everything easier for apprentices to learn. I like just teaching pipe bending the easy way. You don't have to, I've heard apprentices say, man, I really want to learn that formula. I'm like, what's the formula? Just measure. That's all you have to do is measure. There's your formula. You win, And so I use, when I do pipe bending, when I teach offsets and stuff, I use the Pythagorean theorem.
Right.
And so you put your bender up against the pipe and then you measure off. Daniel knows all about this. I think Daniel was probably one of the first guys I taught this to when he was a first year. And you measure off, you mark the center, then you put it to the star, boom, there's your offset. And it was funny because I started for a company here in Denver, and I went up to my first job, and there was one of the guys that worked for the company, and he's like, oh man, you just came for this company? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you know Daniel? I said, yeah, I know Daniel. He goes, man, he's the best pipe bender I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, because I taught him, but it was really cool because I try to make it easy for Daniel, to understand, hey, you'd never be scared of this or that, or, because a lot of times what happens is a lot of these apprentices, they're scared. They don't want to ask questions. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to, they don't want to seem like they don't know something, and to me, it's I hate that. I think it makes me mad, there was one kid that, was like, oh yeah, I'm a third year, I've been bending pipe with the master and all this stuff. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, here's 2 pipes, I need 2 2-inch offsets, and I had to go do something, And so, dude, I come back and it was not even close to an offset, And I was like, dude, what the heck are you doing, dude? And he goes, I was not clearly instructed. And I was like, okay. I was like, you don't know how to bend pipe, just tell me you don't know how to bend pipe. I'll teach you how to do a perfect 2-inch offset every time, And so people come up to me on the job site and they're like, dude, thanks for teaching me that. Thanks for teaching me, this way or that way or this way. I'm like, hey, I had a rack that we did. It was probably 6, 7 pipes that came out 3/4. And I had a third year apprentice bend them all. And I was like, just make them all the same. I was like, they could be wrong. They could be off. They could be whatever. And just make them all the same. And you got your 30-degree up and down, straight up and down, and it's just easy, makes it easy. But
yep.
I don't know. Should we just do Willie Quiz real quick, knock it out?
Let's do the meme of the week.
All right, let's do it. Yeah.
You hadn't seen it. This is one I just happened.
Oh yeah.
Find.
All right,
Yep.
It's yours this week.
All right.
Oh man, that is just awful. That clashes so much.
How dare you put a white face plate on a base plate?
Oh man, cannot believe that is just. I bet you the screws weren't straight either. I mean,
Yeah. I read that. I was like, that's funny as hell.
the gall of these people. So, yeah, David liked that one. Oh, dude, what's up? We got John from the Union.
Amazing outlet.
What's up, man? Oh,
Okay,
that's so
they
hilarious.
Willie Quiz.
Yeah, let's do it.
All
Oh,
right.
dude, this is gonna be so much fun, man.
What's it on this week? Hey, John.
It's just, yeah, dude. Thanks for joining, John. It's just like Dallas Stars trivia, something you probably know everything about. So.
Shoot, I do not.
But it's cool because I love to have the quizzes where King James is guessing, and you guys have a chance to smash his dreams and send him packing. All right, question number 1. Which player was selected directly before Mike Modano in the 1988 NHL entry draft, and which team signed him? Was it A, Trevor Linden, Vancouver Canucks, B, Curtis Lecision, Quebec Nordiques, C, Teemu Selanne, Winnipeg Jets, D, Martin Galanis, Los Angeles Kings, or E, Jeremy Roenick, Chicago Blackhawks? Good luck, everyone.
Well, hell. The only name I even recognize on there is Roenick, so I'll go E.
E. That's a good answer, man.
It's the only one
Yeah,
I know of.
and Roenick was pretty. I want to say he was up there. The reason that I put Jeremy Roenick in there too is that he was good buddies with Modano, and you know who Modano played for, right?
Well, Modano played for Dallas Stars.
Yeah, so that's why he's in there. So
Did Roenick play for the Stars?
yeah, I believe so.
Oh, did he? That's probably why I know the name.
Yeah. Daniel goes, A, Trevor Linden. That's a good one. Daniel. Yeah, so, I mean, like I say, I was kind of hoping that Coach Prince would show up, but like I say, he said he was going to be probably busy with the cheese over there in Thailand. They got, like, a lot of Thailand cheese over there, so he probably wasn't going to be able to make it if, he got caught up in some cheese. So, I get it, So... The correct answer is B, Curtis Lecision. And after Curtis Lecision left the Quebec Nordiques, he went over to the Hartford Whalers after that. So
Really?
I know that Curtis Lecision was a Hartford Whaler. So it goes back to, big shout out to Dave and my buddies at Viking. And thanks so much for teaching me about, hockey and stuff. All right, so question number 2. Which Montreal Canadiens defenseman led the team in average ice time during the most recent Stanley Cup final appearance in 2021? Was it A, Shea Weber? Was it B, Jeff Petrie? Was it C, Ben Sherratt? Was it D, Alexander Romanov? Or was it E, Brandon Gallagher? Good luck, everyone. The thing that's so funny about this, I bet you Coach Princey knows all these, but like I thought I might have been trying to fool him, but I don't know. He probably would have known all of them.
Seems like the only two names I know on there are Sherratt and Romanoff. I'll go with Sherratt, Ben Sherratt.
Ben Sherratt. So King James takes C. DJ 85 goes with another A. Oh man, all right. Let's see if we have another whiff. Daniel scores a goal and gets a correct answer. It was A. Shea Weber. Daniel's already off to a good start. King James 0-2.
I have no freaking idea on these.
And I told everyone it's going to be funny and you're going to be all mad at me. Oh, yeah, I remember Jeremy said you're sick of my crap. So, All right, question number 3. The Dallas Stars 2003 playoff series against the Anaheim Mighty Ducks featured how many total goals scored across all games? Was it A, 22? Was it B, 14? Was it C, 11? Was it D, 18? Or was it E, 17? Good luck, everyone.
Well, that
one thing that I knew you were gonna notice is we have our 2 lucky numbers in there.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about this. Because I guess it's the best of 7. So if they played 7 games, 3, 6, 9. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking. Because they could have went 5 games, and I think you'd have to be a high number, like 18 or 22. I'll go with 18.
All right. Ooh, looks like Daniel's just going all A the whole night. He's just gonna A it to victory. So let's see if Daniel's strategy is correct. You both get a wrong answer. It is E17. And
that's
funny.
Close.
It was funny because I actually put 17 in as a bullshit answer because they said it was B14. And then, it might have said 11. And then I went and I checked it and it was freaking 17. So it was all good catch and thanks for correcting me or whatever. I just put it in as a bullshit answer.
I was sitting there counting. They had to play at least 4 games. And I was saying, you're probably looking about 3 goals a game, so that's 12. That's why I went over the 11. And I was thinking they probably played 5 or 6. More than likely, you get 3 more. So that's why I said 3 goals a game for 5 games, 18. That was how I went about it.
Oh yeah. Well, next week I'm gonna do every answer A, just for you, Daniel. All right, question number 4. In what year did the Montreal Canadiens become the first NHL team to reach 3,000 all-time regular season wins? Was it A, 2009? I bet you Coach Princey would have known this one. A, 2009, B, 2012, C, 2013, D, 2014, or E, 2017? Good luck, everyone.
Well, I definitely no clue on this. I'll just half it and go 2013.
All right, and Daniel is going. Is he going E 2017?
Yeah.
All right. The answer is B, 2012. They were the first team to reach 3,000 all-time regular season wins.
God, I'm
So,
getting so close.
man, so far we have a tough night. So Daniel's still in the lead with 1, right?
Yeah.
All right. So question number 5: Who was the last player to wear number 9 for the Dallas Stars before it was unofficially retired in honor of Mike Modano? Was it A, Neil Broden? Was it B, Ulf Dahlin? Was it C, Tony Horlack? Was it D, Mike Modano himself was the only one to wear that number? Or E, Bill Goldsworthy? Good luck, everyone. Ooh, Daniel is going D. Mike Modano was the only one to wear number 9. Ooh-hoo-hoo.
I'm going to say that was going to be my answer, and I'll tell you why. Because I think when they moved, see, I do know a little bit about them. They moved.
Yeah, this is including moving too. So this is including before.
Oh, okay. Because it says for the Dallas Stars. So I think that wasn't that their first pick ever was Mike Modano when they were the Dallas Stars?
Yes, sir. But somebody could have worn number 9 as a Minnesota North Star, and that would count. Unless there was nobody that wore number 9 on the Minnesota North Stars, which that could be true.
I have no freaking idea. Okay, well, he's already up 1, so I'll go something different because that was my first answer. I'll go with Tony Rock, whatever you say.
C?
Yeah.
Boom! We have a tie. King James gets it right. We go into overtime tonight.
That was a freaking guess all the way.
Oh my goodness. All right. So for a tiebreaker, what actually I'm trying to think of one for a tiebreaker. I had one set up, but it was pretty hard. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to even think of a tiebreaker. Like, I was in the same boat as you, man. I was sitting there trying to get this thing together. You know what? We're just gonna call it King James win. We had to give it to him, Daniel. You know, Daniel's got too many tiebreakers. He'd probably get it tonight. You know, like I'd say, all right, I'll just say, and you guys will probably both get it right. What band inspired the Dallas Stars goal song?
Golly, I know this one because I've been to the games. That's why, and I hear every time they play it. I hear it. God dang. I think there's I'm trying to think because there's it's one of the
Daniel's just loving watching you sweat over this
it's because they're the band's from Pantera. God dang, I couldn't think of it because they're from here.
Daniel got it first, so he takes the win tonight. I'm just kidding. I'll give you guys both the win tonight, but that was so funny. You know, Daniel's all saying it's rigged.
I already got one right. What are you talking about, rigged? I was sitting there. But Pantera's from here, from Fort Worth. They used to. I was trying to think of the club they used to play. Joe's Garage. We used to go to Joe's Garage when they first started, before they even become a big band. You know, Pantera used to play all around here. I was there, I was like, man, I know fucking group because I was like, I used to go listen to them at Joe's Garage back when I was in my 20s. So I'm surprised Daniel knew Pantera.
Dude, we were just at the show.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah, it was Suicidal Tendencies, Pantera, and Metallica.
Oh God, that's kick ass there.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
All right,
I really like Zach Wild.
1 hour and 17 minutes in, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, only 17 minutes for the Willie Quiz, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. All right, let's do myth.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right, so I have a really awesome myth that was inspired by King James this week. He tosses in one of his awesome illustrations up in here. But this kind of shows you the different options. We've kind of ran into this before with the electrode for separate structures, which you do have to have. And then also there was a provision in the NEC, so this week's myth is true. I got a lot of people at my job site, they were like, nah, there's no way that was permitted. And yes, it actually was, and it actually still is for existing buildings. So let's just say that I'm doing a new building, like right in the middle. That new building right in the middle is going to be a new one. Well, the code gives me permission to leave the other two structures as a 3-wire service feed, because obviously in 90.2b, if it was code compliant at one time, it's still code compliant today. So that's kind of cool that they give you permission to just leave it the same way. You could get like some objectionable current on that grounded conductor, and so that's the reason why it became code violation to do it for new construction. But this one's kind of cut and dry. Like you just think today like they're trying to put 4-wire to everything. I know some people had made some comments that they had to run 4-wire to like AC units and stuff now, just because they're trying to rule out that bleeding electrical current onto the equipment ground, which could be dangerous if some things like couplings come loose or different things happen. You just don't want to be injuring persons or property with doing some of this stuff. But that's the whole reason why I could say that it became illegal. But I know you have like a big story on this to go on, so I'll let you just kind of give your story from here. I'm just saying the initial. I actually moved into a house and they had an outbuilding and it was wired like that, and I changed it, but it was I don't think that big of a deal, really. I mean,
well, it was interesting when this first come out in the code. I had to go back and look, but it was 1996. And this is where you say 250-32AB, so on. we had the dash instead of the dot that was there. And I was at the NFPA annual meeting, and Richard Lloyd, he was doing a class at Georgia Tech on grounding and bonding. Well, it really wasn't grounding, bonding. They were basically going through, and he was talking about using steel as an equipment ground, because he actually was a representative for the Steel Manufacturing Association, and they had done a lot of testing and proven that the conduit was actually a better equipment ground than using equipment ground going over to it. But the problem we got into back in is if a coupling come loose or a connector or something like that. So they did some changes that were on this in 250.32, and when you looked in, they added this where they were talking about that you had 2 or more buildings or structures where they were supplied from your common service. And they just put some stuff in here and said the grounding electrodes required in Part 1 of Article 250 to each building or structure shall be connected in the manner specified in B or C. Okay, so that was the first thing that they put in, that they did it. And then they also had the exception in there where you were going to a separate building or structure, but you only had one branch circuit, okay, which is still in there. Where the real change took place here was in B, when it started talking about the grounded systems. And this is where I was actually in a class, and my coach, he spoke up and said, you're always required to take a neutral and equipment ground over there. And I rose my hand and I said, no, that isn't right. And I said, I can actually go over there and the grounded conductor can be run over there and be used as the equipment grounding conductor. And that's when it first came into the code, was 1996. And this is where it gets in and it starts telling you all the things that you were allowed to do. Now, right after that was put in, they come in the next cycle, and then they said it had to be if I go over there and I use a grounded neutral conductor as equipment ground, then they put another requirement in there and said whichever was the largest of the two, that had to be the size that was going to be used. And then after that, they come in and they said, no, we're not doing that. You got to have an equipment ground and a grounded conductor, a grounded conductor neutral going over there. So
that was when Mike only had a 21-year-old company.
Yeah, no kidding. But it for people, when you're coming back and you're looking at this, basically what we're doing is we're giving you some history here, so you can go back and look and see what was stated at the time, and this will put you in the right position here. And you want to start in the 1996 and then go from there. Okay.
All right.
So
cool.
The question that was asked was here: did previous NEC versions permit the grounded conductor to be used as a grounded conductor to another building or structure, and was it used as full code text at the time? And it was. And what was funny, when we were talking about that, Mike said, well, that's an exception to the general rule. And I said, no, it isn't. I said, it's full code text, Mike. I said, you should know better than to call it an exception. If it's an exception, it would be an exception. Well, later on down the line, but I was nice about it. I said, although I agree with you and what you're saying, I think there should be an equipment ground and a neutral going over there together. That's not what the code says. And then it was about 2 cycles after they changed it.
Well, it's really funny. You get a kick out of this. So he just did like a video series, and they started talking about the 10 amp branch circuit.
Uh-huh.
And it was like he posted over on Instagram, and I was like, oh man, time to go record a new video, because now in the 2026 they actually changed the minimum size conductor back. So now the minimum size conductor is 14 copper and number 12 copper clad aluminum. So they actually prohibit the 10 amp branch circuit now. And I was blown away, because it basically only lasted 1 cycle that they allowed the 14 copper clad aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, that's cool. It only lasted one cycle. And he's like, they're not making any such change to that. And I was like, okay. I was like, there's not going to be any 10 amp branch circuit in 2026, you know? So I thought it was pretty funny that he got all mad. And I was like, time to go record a new video, you know? But it's hard with like what you were saying about when you're doing like these code changes. What they try to do is they try to record these videos to make these videos kind of last longevity for like a long time. And the amount of time that they change these codes, it's just never going to be current, you
That's
know?
right.
So it was pretty interesting, and I appreciate everyone joining in on the Willie Quiz. And I totally forgot my cheers to Adam, customary cheers to Adam after the quiz. Thank you, sir.
All right. That leaves
Pickle
us
shot.
a couple more items. Let's move right into Tool of the Week.
Let's do it.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by the Christians Only Tool Review.
All right, so I'm just letting you know, King James, technically Daniel should have got the right answer because he knew of the band faster than you. But anyway, I digress. All right, so this is a new product that I never saw before. It's a Milwaukee roto split. And we actually kind of got in a little bit of an argument on this. I had a really nice post on Facebook, my first ever 2,000 comment, and it just brought up so much different things, you know. And one of the comments I saw was like, how did they cut MC before they made this device? You know, like, well, yeah, King James knows. He probably used a hacksaw.
I use docs.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. But, you know, the thing is that what they said was this kind of caused a little bit of a myth. They said that the inspector can get you in trouble if you're caught using dikes. And me and King James, we ran this myth a long time ago that you can use any kind of tool that does not damage the conductor. So you could use tin snips, you could use dikes, you could use hacksaw, you could use a bandsaw, you could use a roto split. To me, honestly, I think this is the fastest way to do it. I could be really fast with the roto split. You get it set right, you get it adjusted right, you have a whole bunch of splices you got to do. I can knock it out quick with the roto split. And this new Milwaukee one, it actually kind of impressed me. I used the old SealTech original one that came out in the 90s. And I still have my original SealTech one, and I still use it, but this was actually kind of cool. There was a lot of improvements on it that I kind of liked. There's not really that much of an adjustment to it, which I thought was cool, because like the SealTech, you remember that, King James, it has like that adjustment right on the little thing. It doesn't have that, and so I thought that was kind of cool. It just snaps in, and so you could do like HCF or different kinds of things. You do have to be careful using these. Like I remember one time, there was a apprentice who was using one on a live circuit, and I was like, there is no way that you could get deep enough to short that out. That's what I was thinking in my head. Like I thought the whole reason why you use a roto split is so that you don't get deep enough to cut into the conductors and, you know, whatever. Well, he blew it up. It was an exit sign, and he blew it up, and I was blown away. I don't know how he did it. He must have just had to like have that adjustment like super deep or whatever, but I've never seen anybody do that. And like the foreman was like, how does that happen? And I'm like, I don't know. It blew the main to the building too, you know? So I was like, why do you have him cutting in on a hot circuit? Like, shut that off, you know?
Yeah.
But even still, then, you know, you still have to, you know, follow like the manufacturer instructions. So that's what's me and King James always crack up about. Like, I can almost guarantee that roto split will tell you only work on de-energized circuits, you know? So if you blow it up on a hot circuit, you're not following the manufacturer instructions of that tool, you know?
It literally
So-
says on there.
Yeah. So
Not
it's just kinda
insulated. Do not use on live circuits.
Yeah, so it just goes into the whole thing where, like a lot of people are like, oh man, you guys are just trying to teach misinformation. It's like, no, like if you blow this up, you're violating the manufacturer's listing, So, I mean, it's the same thing with anything. I mean, so it's just funny how they're trying to push this stuff, but I really was impressed with this tool. It seemed really like innovative. Like they made a lot of good changes. The wheel seemed pretty strong. The only downside that I thought about it was it showed up disassembled, and you have you're requiring this tool for like apprentices that's never stripped MC before. You think they could put this thing together?
Probably not.
So I had to like take it all apart and get it put together and everything, and we got her working and everything. But and I was showing them how to strip and do different stuff, so it was really cool. But at the same time, I see these kind of tools and I'm like, yeah, whatever makes our job faster, easier, everything. And I can guarantee John's gonna go out and make sure the union buys him a Milwaukee roto split so that he could say his employer provided it, so they need it. So,
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I liked it. There was that was the one thing I didn't like is it's all disassembled and there wasn't really that good of instructions on how to put it together. But I don't need no instructions. I just took it apart, put it together, and got him rolling. So it's pretty awesome. But I did like that tool. So hopefully you guys go out and get yourself a Milwaukee roto split and make it every day an easy day.
All right, what do you got for me this week on?
Oh, dude, you're gonna love this one, man. You're gonna love this one.
Okay, let's see what it's about. Probably something I don't look at much.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
So, last week we did non-power limited fire alarm circuits. This week we're doing power limited fire alarm circuits. So, it's important to notice the difference, and there's specific rules with both of them. So, you have to know the difference. So, like if you guys are going in for like an exam, this is a good thing to kind of study and just understand what the difference is. Like King James made a good point last week. It was really funny. I thought he answered the question when you were saying, oh yeah, 16's got to be 7, or I think that might have been after.
Yeah, I was talking about the
You're-
overcurrent protection, and that's why
Yeah.
where I was at. This one here, I sort of remember this when it came in the code, and it was, my mind was going 26 and 24, and I don't see 24 on there, so I think it's D26, and I think that's like in 760, 144, something like that, 146, somewhere in there.
You are correct. It
Yeah.
is 26, and I did have to add in the spliced with a connector suitable for the use because that's part of
Yeah.
it too. A lot of times what they're using that for is like that Cat 5 data cable.
Mhm.
And that's usually why they go into that. But there's a lot of different stuff, and people don't understand why you say power limited is because they're actually power limited luminaires now.
Yeah.
And I'm really anxious to see how ChatGTP answers because I didn't get a chance to get ChatGTP to answer.
Well, let's see what it says. 18, that'd be wrong. They did 760 6049A. And,
Oh, the one we did last week. I got ChatGPT on it. Boom.
yeah.
And for you all out there, I am like an expert at fooling intelligence, whether it's King James intelligence or ChatGPT artificial intelligence. I got you guys last week, man. That was so funny. But it's cool because you got it right, and I knew you would get it. I probably gave away the answer last week, but I just remember when I took the test, I had to remember that differences and why they were different. And there's a lot of questions in the exam that want you to be able to understand the difference.
I just pulled up. I'm looking for it now.
Different stuff.
It is 760, 142. I was close to I said 144.
Right.
760, 140, 142 states. There we go.
I gotta get one for Daniel. Oh man, freaking ChatGPT.
Yep. So now it's doing a write-up on it and everything. It's getting smarter. It's actually doing write-ups and everything now.
Oh, so what did it say about? Oh, it said it was cool because it was wrong.
Yeah, it comes in. It says right here, you're absolutely right. Then break it down correctly this time and writes it down, and then the provision and talks about all of this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, King James is
yeah,
is in there.
That's something. It actually went in and was adding more stuff to it. It's never done that before.
There you go again, King James.
All right.
Just educating machine. So I really like that you picked the meme and the wall of shame this week.
All right, let's cue
I
it
was
up.
slacking.
Slacker.
Shame. 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 Shame.
The one thing that I love about the Wall of Shame group is you have no problem finding something in there that is massive shame. What is going on there?
I knew you'd like. They took a Makita box and made it a fuck.
What?
I saw it. I was like, I gotta post this one up. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, somebody did this overseas. You can tell by the type of plugs they have. But they took and cut in the Makita box, made them a plug strip out of it.
What? Oh man. Okay.
That's one of our best ones yet.
Yeah, like no matter what you do, you have receptacle spacing up. Man.
The guy that voted outside, he said Makita's come out with a new tool.
Oh man. Wow.
I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, everyone, from the Wall of Shame. It's awesome. Like, I go on there as much as I can, but like I say, not on Facebook that much anymore. But like I say, it's probably for the best. I was probably stirring up enough trouble, so we'll see.
I think everybody's ready to go. We have no viewers on here right now. Everybody's done.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that might be true, might not. But, we actually love you guys joining us every week. We have so much fun. Appreciate you joining in the controversy. And like I say, we're just trying to get the truth out there and making sure that, we get you guys a code compliant install, and like I say, we don't need to hear all this crap from 2026. Like, dude, I guarantee you that half that stuff that it was controversial in 2026 isn't even gonna be adopted. Like, they don't have to. Like why would they do that? Why would they adopt the 2026 when they could just leave it to 2023 and it's gonna be the same? Like,
Yeah.
it's just so dumb. I don't see why they think they're gonna make these changes. Just if it's based on safety, like, yeah, they're gonna. I think their hands would be tied and they'd have to, but I don't know. I mean, that's why I
We'll
submitted
see.
it.
I'm about
I
to
thought
go.
it was
I'm about to go
hilarious.
through it all, so we're gonna see.
Oh,
what
Daniel
happens.
popped back in. Thanks so much for everyone joining us. Thanks so much, Daniel. Thanks so much, David Englehart. Thanks so much, John. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we had like 7 on Rumble. Thanks to y'all too.
Yeah, and thanks so much, Rumble. Everyone on the Rumble side. We will see you guys next week, and we're out. Make every day an easy day.
Amen. Everybody have a good week and enjoy we don't have much longer to go to summer and football season starting. So we'll see
Monday
everybody
morning
next.
coach, baby.
That's right. See everybody next Thursday.
There you
We're
go.
out of here.